Ever get that feeling, like the longer your car sits in the driveway, the more it starts feeling like some spaceship from a movie?
I know exactly what you mean. All that tech that just keeps getting added. It's wild.
Well, get ready because today we're going to look under the hood and go deep into the world of automotive embedded systems. It's basically the brains and nervous system of modern cars, and it's a market that's exploding.
Yeah, and it's not just about cool features either. It's
Yeah.
impacting everything, safety, the environment, how we even think about driving.
Exactly. So we've got this super detailed market report, fresh from early 2025. We'll try to break it down into plain English so you don't need a PhD to understand what's going on.
Sounds good to me. I'm ready to dive in.
Okay, first things first. The big question, what's happening in this market? What are the trends, the big shifts, the things everyone should know about?
Well, the first thing that jumps out is the sheer size of this market. Like back in 2025, it was already worth a massive 29,658.5 million US dollars.
Wow, that's a huge number. And where is it headed?
Up, up, up. Projections show it hitting a mind-blowing 51,492.02 million US dollars by 2033. That's a compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of 6.70%.
Okay, so this thing's growing fast. What's fueling that growth? What's the big driver here?
The biggest factor, hands down, is the rise of ADAS. You know, those advanced driver assistance systems. Think automatic emergency braking, lane departure warnings, adaptive cruise control.
Right, those are becoming pretty standard these days.
Exactly. And they're all powered by these sophisticated embedded systems. It's not just luxury cars anymore. It's becoming the norm across the board.
So basically, people want safer, more convenient driving. Makes sense to me. Now let's zoom out and look at the world map. Where are these embedded systems really taking off?
Okay, so region-wise, North America was king in 2025. They held over 40% of the global market share, a cool USD 11,863.40 million.
Wow, so North America is the big player right now.
They are, but their projected CR is a bit lower, around 6.4%. Still solid, but it shows things are shifting.
I see. So within North America, who's leading the charge?
Well, the US is the powerhouse, no surprise there. They had a market size of USD 9,360.22 million back in 2025, and their projected CAGR is around 6.2%.
Okay, any particular reason for their dominance?
One big factor is the focus on automotive cybersecurity. You know, with all these computer systems in our cars, they need protection from hackers, viruses, that kind of thing.
Yeah, makes sense. You don't want someone taking control of your brakes remotely. So what about our neighbors to the north?
Canada's rocking a 7.2% CAGR with a market size of USD 1,423.61 million. They're seeing a lot of growth thanks to government regulations pushing for safer, greener vehicles.
Interesting. And Mexico.
Mexico's got a 6.9% CAGR with a market worth USD 1,079.57 million. So yeah, North America's got a strong grip on this market, but the growth rates tell us things are changing.
Okay, so North America is strong, but maybe not growing as fast as some other places. What about Europe?
Europe's another big player. They had over 30% of the global market in 2025, worth USD 8,897.55 million. And their CAGR is right on par with North America at 6.7%.
Got it, so neck and neck with North America. Any standouts within Europe?
Definitely. The UK is doing really well. They're projected to grow at 7.5% annually with a market size of USD 1,494.79 million in 2025. They're really embracing OTA software updates, those over-the-air updates, just like on your phone.
Right, so the car's constantly learning and getting better without needing to go to the mechanic.
Exactly. Germany is another one to watch. Their market was worth USD 1,761.71 million in 2025, with a KGR of 6.9%. They're big on all those high-tech smart features. And even Russia, despite everything going on, is a significant market at USD 1,379.12 million and a 5.7% CAGR.
Okay, so Europe's steady growth, but I feel like there was another region in the report that was really booming.
Oh, you're right. Asia Pacific, that's where things are getting really exciting. They had about 23% of the market share in 2025, worth USD 6,821.46 million. But their projected CAGR is a whopping 10.2%.
Wow, that's almost double the growth rate of North America and Europe. What's driving that surge?
It's a mix of things. China's pouring money into developing autonomous vehicles, self-driving cars, which need some serious embedded systems. Their market was USD 2,865.01 million in 2025, with a CGR of 9.7%.
So China's going all in on future tech. What about other countries?
India is the real star. Their market was smaller in 2025 at USD 818.57 million, but they're projected to grow at a crazy 12.0% annually. They're making huge leaps in AI and machine learning for cars.
That's impressive. So Asia Pacific is the one to watch, especially India. Now, what about the rest of the world? South America, Africa?
Latin America's growing steadily with a 7.6% CAGR. Their market was worth USD 1,482.93 million in 2025. Brazil is the leader there at USD 634.69 million and an 8.2% CAGR. They're big on fuel efficiency with a decent 7.9% CAGR. The GCC countries are leading the charge with 8.7% growth. They're investing a lot in safety and automation tech.
Okay, so it's a global phenomenon. North America's on top right now, but Asia Pacific, especially India, is the rising star. Now let's switch gears and talk about how these embedded systems are actually being used. What's the most popular application right now?
Vehicle tracking systems are huge right now. That's where GPS and IoT tech come in, basically. Your car's constantly talking to the internet, sending its location and other data.
Right, so it's like a big brother for your car, keeping track of where it is and what it's doing.
Exactly. It's great for things like fleet management, theft prevention, even just knowing where your teenager is driving.
Uh-huh. Yeah, lots of applications there. So vehicle tracking's big now, but what's the next big thing? What's growing the fastest?
The fastest growing application is parking management. Think of all those sensors, cameras, and software that help you find a parking spot, pay for parking, and optimize parking space in cities.
Oh yeah, that's becoming super common, especially in busy areas. Makes parking a whole lot less stressful.
Exactly. And as more people move to cities, this area is only going to get bigger. Now, let's talk about what kinds of vehicles are using these embedded systems.
Okay, so we've got passenger cars, trucks, motorcycles, all sorts of things. What's the breakdown?
Passenger vehicles are the biggest segment right now. That's because there are so many cars on the road, and they're getting packed with more and more tech infotainment systems,
Wow.
ADS features, all that good stuff.
Right, makes sense.
Yeah.
What about the fastest growing segment?
That would be off-road vehicles. Think about all the tech going into things like tractors, construction equipment, even those rugged SUVs that people love to take off-roading. They need durable systems that can handle tough conditions.
Interesting. So even if you're driving through mud and over rocks, high-tech electronics are still playing a big role.
You got it. They're making those vehicles safer, more efficient, and even more fun to drive.
Okay, let's get down to the nuts and bolts, literally.
Yeah.
What are the key components that make up these embedded systems?
Sensors are absolutely essential. They're like the eyes and ears of the car, collecting data about everything's speed, location, obstacles, you name it.
So they're sensing the world around the car.
Yep, exactly. And then there are microcontrollers, or MCUs. They're basically tiny computers that process all that data from the sensors and make decisions about what the car should do.
Ah, so they're the brains of the operation.
You got it. They're getting more and more powerful all the time, too, which is enabling all these cool new features we're seeing.
Okay, so we've got sensors and microcontrollers, but the report also talked about different types of embedded systems. Can you explain that a bit more?
Sure. There's embedded hardware, which includes all those physical components, sensors, microcontrollers, wiring, and all that.
Right, the physical stuff.
Exactly. And then there's embedded software, which is basically the code that tells the hardware what to do. This software is becoming super sophisticated, and it's crucial for things like integrating all the different systems in the car, optimizing performance, and ensuring safety.
Ah, so it's like the operating system for your car.
Pretty much. It's what makes all the magic happen. Now, thinking about what actually powers these cars, how does that affect the embedded systems market? We've got gas-powered cars, electric cars, hybrids.
Right, a whole mix of things.
Yep. So internal combustion engine, or ICE, vehicles are still the biggest segment when it comes to embedded systems. They've got all those systems for engine control, emissions, safety, infotainment, and more.
Makes sense. They're still the most common type of car. But electric vehicles are getting super popular. How does that play into things?
EVs are the fastest growing segment, no doubt about it. They rely heavily on embedded systems for things like battery management, powertrain control, and charging.
Right, so as more people go electric, that's going to boost the embedded systems market even more.
Absolutely. It's one of the biggest trends to watch. Speaking of trends, we talked about ADAS earlier, but the report also breaks down safety systems even further.
Okay, so what's the most common type of safety system that uses embedded systems?
Adaptive Cruise Control, or ACC, is the big one. It's becoming more and more sophisticated, using sensors and software to keep a safe distance from the car in front of you and even adjust your speed automatically.
It's pretty amazing how advanced that tech's gotten.
And it's only going to get more impressive as we move towards self-driving cars. But the fastest growing safety system is actually airbags.
Really? Airbags have been around forever.
They have, but the technology is still evolving rapidly. They're developing more advanced sensors to detect different types of crashes and even smarter deployment systems to protect passengers in various ways.
So even something as seemingly simple as an airbag is becoming more complex and sophisticated thanks to embedded systems.
Exactly. It's a good example of how this technology is constantly improving and finding new applications. Now, let's talk about the big picture. What are the key forces driving this entire market forward?
Okay, what's pushing this growth?
Well, the rise of electric vehicles is a huge factor, as we've talked
Yeah.
about, and the infrastructure that goes along with it, charging stations, smart grids, all that.
All right, so EVs are a major driver. What else?
Another big one is the growing focus on safety and security features. Governments are mandating stricter safety regulations, and consumers are demanding more advanced features to protect themselves and their families.
Makes sense. We all want to feel safe in our cars.
Exactly. And then there's the incredible progress being made in AI and machine learning. These technologies are really pushing the boundaries of what's possible in cars, particularly with self-driving features and more intelligent systems overall.
So EVs, safety, AI, those are the big drivers.
Yeah.
But what about the challenges? There must be some roadblocks along the way.
Of course. One major challenge is the high cost of developing these complex embedded systems. It's a big investment, which can be tough for smaller companies to swallow.
Right, so it's not a market for the faint of heart.
Definitely not. And then there's the issue of integration. Fitting all these new systems into the existing electronic architecture of a car can be a real headache.
So it's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Kind of. It takes a lot of engineering know-how to make sure everything works together seamlessly. Now let's look ahead. What are some of the big trends that will shape the future of this market?
Okay, so what's on the horizon?
One trend is the demand for even better, more intuitive infotainment systems. People want a more personalized, connected experience in their cars. Think high-res displays, seamless smartphone integration, streaming services, and even personalized climate control.
Yeah, like turning your car into a mobile living room.
Exactly. But as cars become more connected, cybersecurity is becoming even more critical. We need to make sure those systems are protected from hackers who could steal data or even take control of the car.
That's a scary thought. Cybersecurity for cars is definitely something to think about.
Absolutely. It's an area that's going to see a lot of growth and innovation in the years to come. Finally, let's talk about who the big players are in this market.
Okay, so who are the movers and shakers?
Well, on the hardware side, you've got big names like Intel, NXP Semiconductors, Infineon Technologies, and Texas Instruments. They're the ones making the chips and sensors that go into these systems.
Right, the building blocks.
Exactly. And on the software side, you've got companies like Wind River, BlackBerry QNX, and Denso. They're developing the platforms and operating systems that make everything run smoothly.
So it's a mix of familiar tech giants and specialized automotive companies.
Yep. And they're all pushing each other to innovate faster and faster, which is great news for consumers because it means better technology at lower prices.
Competition is a good thing. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground today. It's been fascinating to see how this market is evolving and what the future holds. So as we wrap things up, what are the key takeaways you want our listeners to remember?
The big takeaway is that the automotive embedded systems market is booming, driven by things like the rise of electric vehicles, the increasing demand for safety and security features, and the incredible advancements in AI. We've seen that North America is currently leading the pack, but Asia-Pacific, particularly India, is growing at an incredible pace. Vehicle tracking is big right now, but parking management is the fastest growing application. And while gas-powered cars are still dominant, electric vehicles are the future.
And just to reiterate those eye-popping numbers, this market was worth almost 30 billion US dollars in 2025, and it's projected to hit over 51 billion by 2033. That's a huge jump.
It really shows the potential of this market. And when you think about the impact it's having on everything from how we drive to how our cars interact with the world around us, it's pretty mind-blowing.
Absolutely. So next time you're behind the wheel, take a moment to think about all the amazing technology working behind the scenes to make your driving experience safer, more efficient, and even more enjoyable. It's a whole new world of automotive innovation.
It makes you wonder what's next. I mean, where does it go from here?
Exactly. That's the question we'll keep exploring.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, folks. Until next time, keep your eyes on the road and your minds open to the possibilities.
Ta-da!